So who is Stephen Schaub and why should you even care? Well, I've been photographing for the last 30 years. And during that time, I have shot an awful lot of film. And I've used an awful lot of film developer combinations. I have a BFA in Photographic Arts and Sciences from the Rochester Institute of Technology. And for the last 21 years, I've made a very small town in Vermont, Paulet, Vermont, total population 925 people, my hometown. During the last 21 years of living here in Vermont, I've seen photography turned upside down. And anybody who remembers the early 2000s remembers how absolutely crazy the photography industry got the moment digital came on the scene, the moment digital became a real force. And this was around 2002, 2003. And this was exactly at the same time that I switched from making traditional darkroom prints to making digital prints. I still shot film. Everything I shot was still shot with film, and it was scanned. But my printing process switched from traditional darkroom to digital printing. And to me, that was incredible. It opened up a whole new world for the way that I wanted to work. And I was really excited. But what I wasn't excited about was a lot of the misleading advertising, a lot of the promises of how great digital technology was in 2000, 2003. And the reality is it really wasn't. So in 2006, I decided to write and start a website called the Figital Revolution. Now, Figital stands for film digital. Think hybrid. And on this website, I wrote well over 300 articles over the next 12 years. And the articles and everything are all still there. If you want to go take a look at them, they're totally free and open to the public. And I did extensive testing on different film and developer combinations. I yelled at a lot of people when I thought they were being misleading. I reviewed different papers and different printing processes. And really, my goal was to reach out to the young photographer who wanted to get into photography during this crazy time period, who wanted to shoot film but didn't know where to turn. It seemed to me that all the universities were shutting down their dark rooms at an ever-increasing pace, and I was there on the sideline going, stop. You know, film has a very strong place in the future of photography, and I'm very happy, by the way, to report here in 2018 that I was right. Film is doing fantastic, and I don't see any reason why film photography isn't going to be around for the next 20, 30 years. It's the choice that we as photographers want. We want to have our cake and we want to eat it too. We want the best of both worlds. So one of the big quests that I had on Figital Revolution was to find an easy film developer combination that someone could do without having to spend extensive time doing sensitometry, film testing, and that they could just get a good result right out the bat for scanning. And I think that's really important to also understand. All the results that I'm talking about in this article are for the purposes of scanning. I'm not talking about making negatives to go make platinum prints. I'm not talking about negatives to go print on graded, traditional darkroom paper or variable contrast paper. This is all for the hybrid workflow. I do feel, however, I will say that everything that I've tested should be absolutely fine in those environments, but I have not tested it. So everything that I'm going to talk about is about hybrid photography. So a long time ago, I discovered a developer called Diafine, and I wrote an awful lot of articles on Diafine Developer. Now, the reason I mentioned Diafine is that Diafine to me was what Monobaf Developer is to me today. It was easy, I could get great results, the negatives were fantastic for scanning, and it was very cost effective and something that I could teach to my students and they could learn very quickly. It's everything that I was looking for. But it really wasn't perfect though. It did a lot of things really well, but it wasn't perfect. So like every other photographer, I kept testing different developers and different film combinations. So this last summer, I was out west for about 4 weeks photographing, and that was right around the time that I saw Cinestill put out a notice that they were coming out with a Monobaf developer called Df96, which was based on D96 developer. Now, I've tested Monobaf developers before, and I had mixed results, but I was intrigued, and I came home from my trip, and I started processing using Df96 the moment it was released. And I have to tell you, right off the bat, I was really blown away. It reminded me of the ease of use of the Diafine, yet it was even easier. It was every bit as cost-effective as any other major commercially available developer. And it was the kind of thing that gave me a look to my negatives that from a scanning standpoint was just a perfect marriage. So one of my big goals has always been to simplify the photographic process on the developing end to bring younger photographers on board. And that's what we're going to discuss here now in the next sections.